So, hi, I'm back with the follow-up video to my test drive of the 40 kilowatt Nissan Leaf, the 2018 model. So we went to the dealer and picked up a 40 kilowatt, and we had permission to borrow it for 24 hours. Picked it up at 6 o'clock in the evening and returned it around noon the day after that. And we had previously decided to go to my girlfriend's parents, because that's a route we do usually, a couple of times not every day, but every couple, every month, maybe 2 months. And we're basically doing it so often that it's a good benchmark for what we want when it comes to range and whatever. And we know the roads, so we picked it up. It wasn't that cold outside. It was like minus, and we're talking centigrade here, so but minus 3-4 degrees. I'm still not dark outside. And we're like, okay, well, I'm guessing it's not getting better than that. But once we started driving, we decided to take I wouldn't say alternative route, but it's a little bit longer, because you get some highway driving, you get some standard road driving and whatnot. And so we headed off, and let me just point out that we stopped a couple of times to just try out the shadow modes, because shadow mode chargers on the route, just to see how they were working, how fast it was charging. And what I found out when it came to charging is that if you look at other videos on YouTube, you can see it in this instrument cluster on the new Leaf how fast you're charging on the shadow modes. What I found was on standard like ABB chargers and Garrows, these common ones, especially ABB's 50 kilowatt AC chargers or DC chargers are very common around the world. On those ones, I got the charging speeds in the car, which is awesome. I'm guessing that's just the fact that people have been using Leaf Spy in the older Leafs for a lot of years. So because the information is, within the car's computer system. So I'm guessing Nissan got feedback on that and just decided, why not just give that to people, because then you can show how fast it's charging, and you can show, as they do in the 40 kilowatt Leaf, you can show the charging time that will take up to, I think it's like 25%, is it 50, 75, I don't remember. Yeah, but still, you can see in segments how long it will take, which is really good because it makes it a lot easier. And why not just give the information, because you don't have to watch it. You can go to other screens there. It's not locked statically to that screen when you're charging. So, but then when we went to another quick charger, we have a couple of them here around where we live, from a company called Delta. I'm guessing they're pretty common in Japan and whatnot. And these are really fast ones. The ones that are around here, they are upscalable. So right now, I think they're putting out a total of 100 kilowatts. So I can charge my car on shadow mode, and you can charge your car on CCS at the same time and get approximately 50 kilowatts each out of them. And they are scalable to, I think it's 150 kilowatts. So really, really smart thing there. And you can charge up to 4 cars on them, because the ones closest to us, they only have a shadow mode, a CCS, and then they have a Type 2 cable. I think the Type 2 cable only supports up to 22 kilowatts on them, I think. I don't remember. But anyways, so, and then there's a couple of new ones a little bit farther away, which also have a Type 2 outlet on them, a plug, so you can plug your Type 2 cable in there. So if all the 3, permanent cables were occupied, and you came in your Nissan Leaf or your Tesla, whatever, you could plug in your Type 2 cable and get AC power up to 22 kilowatts also. So you can charge up to 4 cars at the same time. That's really smart. The only downside, and I'm guessing this is just the software within the Delta chargers, I could not get the charging speed displayed in the Nissan Leaf when charging on a Delta charger. The only thing I got was the charging screen saying remaining time 59 minutes, and that didn't actually go down. It said remaining time 59 minutes. It wasn't like it was actually seeing, because you can set a charger to a set limit where it would cut off, and the Delta chargers around here I think are set to, is it 60 minutes maybe? I think maybe. So maybe it's getting the initial when you plug in the time remaining, but it's not counting down within the car, so the Delta charger is not continuously sending that information to the car that now this is how much the time remaining before the charger will cut off. It just stays static on 59 minutes. I'm assuming this is just a software thing in the Delta chargers, because if I plug in Leaf Spy in my 24 kilowatt Leaf, I will see the charging speeds. So the information is still going sadly the same way into the car from Delta chargers or ABB charger or whatever. So that's it's a minor thing, because I mean you can still see the percentage go up and all that. So and you can see, so it's not really something that, it's not a deal breaker. I'm just pointing out that this is an observation that I made on different quick charging chargers. If they display the information within the screen in the new Nissan Leaf. That's just me pointing that out. Going over the car, I'm just going to take out my pointers here. So things that I thought were good, and there's probably more of them that I just haven't written down. The automatic beams and high beams, awesome feature. I mean, every car should have that. That should be this should be lost for that, because people are generally, I mean, some people are good at turning down their lights when they get oncoming traffic, but a lot of people are horrendously terrible at it. They don't do it, or if sure they will do it eventually, but not after being blinding you for a certain amount of time, and that really gets tiresome when you're driving far distances in the dark and whatnot. And we live in Sweden. There's a lot of dark hours in the day, a lot of time of the year. So that's a really good feature. I really liked it. I mean, it doesn't really make it better for me because it turns it off, but I mean, it helps the other cars around you, and it makes it safer, and it's a real convenient thing, because this system, at least in the Nissan Leaf, because I've never tried it on another car, in my experience here, it worked flawlessly. I mean, it turned down the high beams maybe like a second or half a second before I would have done it, so we're just on par there. And it turned the high beams back on, maybe a tad, it took too long of a time compared to what I would have done. Like when I passed this car, it would take a couple of seconds and then would turn on again. I mean, not a minor. And as I see it, if you put the headlights on auto in the Leaf, you cannot manually put on the high beams. I did not find that I could do that, at least. I mean, you're pulling the stock, nothing happened. It was totally automatic. But you can put it, on the on position, and then they're manual, as in the older Leafs and any other car. So you can do it manually if you feel that it's not working. And for some reason, in certain conditions, it's not working as good as it should. You can just go do it manually. No problem at all. But it's an awesome feature. I really like that. The auto folding, interior mirror, that makes it so that you don't get blinded by the cars from behind. Awesome feature, sure. I mean, a lot of cars have it these days. The old Nissan Leafs don't. No, it's an awesome feature. Just adding to the safety and whatnot, making it easy. I don't have to start pulling that lever when I'm driving down the road, and let's say I go for a half an hour, there's no cars behind me, and I forget that I actually have it in the standard position, the mirror. So once it just folds down, or I get a car behind, I actually have to do it manually. And this is, as everyone knows, there's just a small thing there which you need to find, usually in the dark then. So you take your eyes off the road, and you focus on other things, which is not good while driving, especially not when it's dark, especially if we live in Sweden where we have a lot of moose and reindeers, whatever, coming out on the road. Yeah, so just a good feature. The Pro Pilot, really good feature. I mean, once again, it's just there. I mean, it's not self-driving as a Tesla, but still, it helps you if you're driving long distances on highways. It just helps a lot. It alleviates that stress from having to sit and micromanage the steering wheel for hour after hour. It just does that for you, and I think it's good. I mean, sure, I get people go, but why isn't it totally self-driving? Well, sure. I'm guessing that's coming. I mean, we're not there. I mean, Tesla's not there. Their cars are not totally self-driving. I mean, they can drive in straight on a road that has lines, exactly as the Pro Pilot on the Nissan Leaf. Sure, the Tesla system is better at doing it, and it doesn't nag you as often to hold the steering wheel, whereas in the Leaf, you really have, it's a couple of seconds. It's like 4 or 5 seconds, then it will start nagging you. And my girlfriend had this thought when we borrowed the new Leaf that, this system, it activates What happens if you do not help the, respond to the car's command to actually hold steering wheel? Will it just turn off and just drive out over a cliff and kill you? Or what will it do? Because, that's a real thing. Because I'm not saying you should take your hands off the wheel. I don't say you should just fall asleep. But, there are potential scenarios where you get sick. If you're an older person, you can have some kind of illness that incapacitates you to the degree that you pass out. And let's say you're going on a highway, you're going at 100 or 110 kilometers an hour, whatever your speed limit is, you have your ProPilot on, and you pass out. What happens? And I said to my girlfriend, I don't know. I've heard that it will just turn off, and then it will be like any other car. It just turns off and it will go off. Turns out that's not the case. Sure, if you're driving and the car tells you that there's no lines, so it disengages the ProPilot system, then it will just drive you off of a cliff if you don't do anything, like any other car, and it will tell you with a loud bling blong. So if you're passed out, you're passed out. It's going to be the same as in any other car. But as long as you're on a highway or whatever, and the car is able to see lines on both sides, and you have the ProPilot engaged, you pass out after like 5 or 6 seconds. The car will show you in the display, beside the speedometer, it will show you a gray steering wheel with red hands on it, and give you a audible noise also, and it says that you had to hold steering wheel. And if you don't comply to that, but then I didn't count the time, but after it just gets louder and louder and goes, it sounds like a ticking bomb as it goes beep 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 beep. It goes higher and higher, and does that for let's say, I would say like 20 seconds, maybe 10-20 seconds. After that, if it's still, the ProPilot's engaged, it sees the lines, and the car sees that you haven't touched the steering wheel, it will then, and this surprised me, it will try to nudge you. What it does, it just pumps the brake real quickly. It's like if I would push myself, someone on the shoulder, like so. It's done in the back. You could feel, not really hard, but like you could feel that it was nudging you, like, hey, come on. It did that once, and then like a couple of seconds later, but did it again. And at that point, if you did not take the steering wheel, I did not try to take the steering wheel, I just let it go, it would start to slow down, really, like if you had the e-pedal on or something, like decently fast, trying to slow down, but not, standing on the brakes. Slowing down and come to a stop, and once it was almost at a stop, it would turn on the hazard lights. And at that point, I did not let the car come to the complete stop. First of all, I was on a highway, and second of all, I was just like, because these systems can be so well integrated that once the car stops, the car will dial 911 for you. And because if you're not answering and you call 911 and you can't answer because you passed out, then at least in Sweden, the emergency personnel will be able to pick up your GPS location, the coordinates from your phone. So they will send fire and rescue to your location if you're not responding. They're not assuming that you pocket dialed them and then nothing happens. What happens is that they'll send a rescue team out there with ambulances and whatnot. And I do not know if the Leaf will actually call 911. I'm not saying that it will do. This is a disclaimer on that. I just realized that once it slowed down, it was at like 10-15 kilometers an hour, still getting to a standstill. It turned on the hazard lights, and since it did that, I was like, I don't know if the car will automatically dial 911 once the car reaches total stop, and I don't want to take the chance because there's a hefty fine for that. You cannot, maybe you can in some countries, but in Sweden you cannot call 911 or 112 that we have here, but you cannot call that number and say, oh, I was just trying it out in my car. That's not going to fly. You're going to have to pay a hefty fine there. We're talking like 500 euros. So, yeah, I just didn't want to take the risk. But so that was a pleasant surprise because my girlfriend was like, when we were taking out the car, and, the ProPilot isn't that just a gimmick. I mean, if you just run yourself off a cliff anyways, if you pass out, what is the point? I was like, I don't know. Let's find out. And we found out, and it did not run me off a cliff. Sure, if the autopilot or the ProPilot system disengages due to the fact that there's no lines, it will disengage the ProPilot system, and the car will be like any car without self-driving, so it will run you off the road if you're not steering the car. But as long as you're driving on a highway or a road with visible lines, it will stop itself in a good manner, and even try to both audibly and actually physically try to get your attention to actually so you can take the steering wheel again. And I find that to be very good. People are like, oh, but you don't need self-driving cars. No, you know what? If you don't want a self-driving car, no one's forcing you, because I'm all for self-driving cars as long as you have the option to do it yourself. So you have to, physically engage the self-driving feature. I don't really want a car where there are no features allowing me to drive the car. I can just get in and it will drive me wherever. I don't really see that as an option. And sure, I mean, in cabs and whatnot, in cars that I will not drive myself because I'm a passenger in the car for that reason. Let's say it's a bus or a taxi or whatever, cab. Then I understand that the car is self-driving. But in my own car or someone else's car, if I'm going to drive a car, I want to have the ability to manually control the car at any given moment. And as long as you have that, I'm totally fine with even level 5 autonomy on cars, so that they're totally self-driving and can go through, through roundabouts and take off ramps on the highway, or to make real turns in cities. I'm all for that, but I want to have the ability to turn it off. And I'm assuming that at least in my lifetime, there will maybe be level 5 autonomy in cars, but it's still going to be a feature that you have to enable in the car with some kind of physical action, be it a voice command or most likely still forever a physical button that in the Teslas you pull a lever down 2 times, in the Leaf you push a button. And the thing is with the ProPilot system that first off you push the ProPilot button, and after that you have to set the cruise control, the cruise control limit, and it has the adaptive cruise control, so you have to set the speed limit for that. And here we come to a thing that I didn't really get. First off, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I could not, for the love of me, get the car to only go in adaptive cruise control. It was either ProPilot or it was not, and that's maybe a minor gripe, because the thing is that if you have bad lines coming and going on the road, it will disengage, and it will give you a really decent audible noise that it disengages the ProPilot going ding dong. So you're annoyed by that when it goes, the ding dong comes and goes every couple of minutes because the lines on the road are bad. And at that point, I would like to just put it on, adaptive cruise control. I'm assuming you can, but I did not find out how to do that. But if you cannot put it on only adaptive cruise control, then it's a flaw, in my opinion. So, another gripe with the ProPilot system is that it will display in the center console very good visibility. You can see everything there. It will display the speed limits. It will read off the speed signs that it sees with the camera in the car. Good feature. But then I feel, why isn't there a setting where I can tell the car to, when I put on the ProPilot, to use the assumed speed limit that it saw with the camera? I guess the reasoning behind it not doing that is because it can be wrong. It can read the side wrong. It could happen. I'm guessing that's the reason. But still, I still think you should have the ability to, in some menus, put it on go by speed limit sign, or whatever you want to call the option. So in the ProPilot settings, you could do that. So once I engage the ProPilot, instead of me first having to push the ProPilot button and then having to manually set the adaptive cruise control limit, I would like to have an option where to just push the ProPilot. Okay, I get it that maybe they want you to do more actions because then it's safer, because then you're actively choosing the ProPilot system to engage. Maybe that's it. But why not just have that you have to double tap the ProPilot button to set it on ProPilot and use the speed limit that it has displayed for you? I just feel like if you're showing the speed limit and you have adaptive cruise control and you have, self-driving capabilities, shouldn't you have the option to just let it drive by the speed limits that the car sees? It's, yeah, minor thing there. I'm not saying it's a huge thing, but it would be nice. So that's it. The 360 camera, still awesome. I mean, we've had it on the Leaf since 2010, so I haven't had it on mine. I only have the Inte trim level, so I only have the backup camera. But I'm trying the 360 camera for, and it's just good. I would like it, and it's bad that you can't really. It's not an option. It's not like, it's never been like you can buy an Accenta model. You have to buy the top tier trim to get the 360 camera. I don't think you have now. You can buy the N Connect and get the 360 camera. But still, I think it just couldn't be, especially since I think all Nissan Leafs, last couple of years at least, and especially now, have backup cameras. Couldn't just the 360 camera be an option, especially since everyone, since day one, since it became available, it's not an industry standard. Everyone tries to, car reviewers, they'll tell you like, oh, this 360 camera is awesome. Why doesn't every car have it? Why does it only have a backup camera? Nissan could have played on that and had it as an option for, for a decent amount of money. You say, okay, you want a backup camera? It's free. You want 360 camera? Well, you pay extra. Or you buy the highest trim level because you want things that are associated with that trim level, leather seats, whatever. But I would like to have the option because maybe I don't want the Bose sound system. Maybe I don't want leather seats. Maybe I only want the 360 camera. Just give me the option. You can still give me the trim levels, but why not have the 360 camera as an option even in lower tier levels, like the Accenta level? Just a thought there, Nissan. Okay. The performance of the car is a very good plus. It has faster acceleration than the older Leafs. I think Nissan specified the numbers at 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or 0 to 60 miles an hour at around 8 seconds. And the thing I noted was that in the older Leafs, you have the initial blast of power from 0 to, 30, 40 kilometers an hour. It really pushes you. It gives you that jolt, so you really know that you're an electric car. That's, you can show that off to people. Oh, check it out. 0 to 40, I'll beat basically anything. Not really, but get my point here. What they've done in the new Leaf, I feel, they have slowed down. The acceleration in the beginning is not as violent. I wouldn't call it violent. It sounds like I'm talking about a Tesla with ludicrous mode, but I'm not. But my girlfriend actually gets nauseous from the acceleration of the Leaf from a standstill because, she's not prepared. I know that I'm going to accelerate. If she's not prepared, once the acceleration tampers off, she's fine, but she doesn't like that initial blast on. Whereas in the new Leaf, she enjoyed it quite well. She didn't actually feel anything about it because they have, the curve is more linear. I don't know what they've done, but the 0 to 60 time is quicker, but the initial jolt isn't that bad. If you don't like it, it's bad. If you like it, it's good. So, but still, the 0 to 60, faster, good. Better acceleration at higher speeds. So like in the Leaf, if you're going 70, 80 miles an hour and you want to overtake someone, it's just like your standard small car. It's not slow. It's slow-ish, but there's slower cars definitely out there, gasoline cars or whatever. But yeah, from 70 and upwards, overtaking, yeah, you need a decent stretch of road. Whereas in the new Leaf, it has a decent amount of power. Still, from like if you're going 90 miles an hour, you get onto the highway and you want to overtake someone because the road sign says 130 kilometers an hour, and the person in front of you is still going 90. Just go in left lane. It has good punching power upwards to at least 130. I tried it up to 130. I didn't go higher than that. But yeah, so that's good. That they, the curves when it comes to acceleration, you have more speed in the higher, speed range, and you also have the acceleration been smoothened out. So if you don't like that initial real jolt, then that's been flattened out. It's still quick, and it really still feels quick, but you don't have that 0 to 30 kilometers an hour that is to show off your electric car capabilities that a gasoline car simply cannot physically do. That maybe, I guess a gimmick, and Nissan probably listen to people about that. So let's see. That's it. Bad things. The center armrest in the front. I mean, come on, Nissan. They put it so far back. I get it because they put the cup holders where they put them in the car this time. And I like the placement of the cup holders. But you should still have some kind of movability on the armrest so you can, like it's here. And why not just have so you can move forwards? Because a lot of cars have that. If you don't have anything, in the cup holders, and you want to use the armrest, why not just have it so you can pull it forwards? Because now it's so far back that if I'm like 174 centimeters long, and if I sit in a standard comfortable position that I want in the car, I will not be able to. I can't physically move my arm backwards, so I can put it on the armrest. But then I'm sitting too far away from the steering wheel. This problem could be solved if the steering wheel actually could move forwards and backwards. It can still only go up and down. So, but still, why not? I'm guessing there's going to be aftermarket accessories, so you can change the lid, so it's going to be, you can push it forwards and backwards, or you can pull something out of it, so you get an armrest that you can actually use while holding the steering wheel. Yes, the point, Nissan. The charging, what would we call it? The charging door. I don't like that. I like the placement and that it's more upright now, so it's easier to find the hole, charging ports. But I don't like when you pull it up and you put the plug in, all good. But when you're done, you take out your charge cable, you close the little flap there, and the lid, instead of just coming down, once it reaches from standing there, and when you just touch it, it will just slam down like onto its locking mechanism. There's no spring system. It just feels very, not flimsy, but it feels violent. You don't need that. The old Leaf, sure, it was going faster, but it didn't feel like it was slamming itself down. It's like, I don't know what they did there. I don't know. No. So that's it, good and bad things. And it didn't, generally, I mean, I like the fact that it has Android Auto, because it has Apple CarPlay too. I don't have an Apple phone, so I wouldn't know. But it worked really good. I like that, and just adding features. I was a little skeptical about the what was that? There's something that I was really, the speedo, the analog speedometer. I don't know. I still like the digital one in the middle. That's on the old Leafs. I like that better. It's just easy to read off, and it's just there, line of sight. It's good. Don't really like that on the new car. I mean, I don't dislike. I mean, you got used to it really quickly, but you got to remember, the Leaf is my second car in a row that has digital speedos. So I guess I'm used to that. And then I like the fact that they actually took away, because in the old cars, on the infotainment system, you had buttons to, adjust the volume. Now it's a knob. I like the knob. It's easier to find without looking, and I like it. So that's a small thing. And one thing I didn't realize before I actually tried the new Leaf was that in the old Leaf that I have, when you're adjusting the cruise control or the speed limiter, which both actually still exist in the new car, you had, the column for it on the steering wheel was a thing that was, pointing out a little bit, so you could feel it really easily. It's right there, and you could just touch it to push it up and down. Whereas in the new Leaf, they are shrunk-in physical buttons. I guess it looks better, but it's harder, as I feel, to find the buttons. If you're driving, you just look at the road and try to find you push the speed limiter button, and you just want to, you're glancing down at the speedo, because right beside the speedo you can see the limit you set. You're all good, but the problem is, I feel it's a lot harder to just find the buttons with your fingers. I mean, of course, I'm guessing after a couple of days with the car, you would probably feel normal with it. But in the old Leaf, it stuck out, this bit. I don't know how much, but a little bit. So you could really feel it was more of a joystick feel to it. And I like that better. Small thing. Are we getting a 40 kilowatt Leaf? Not this year, but maybe getting a demo car from a dealer next year is an option. But then, on the other hand, I'm starting to see a lot of videos on YouTube now, or around the internet, people talking about the charging on the car. Then, since it doesn't have active cooling or thermal management whatsoever, after 2 rapid chargers or quick charge sessions, it will limit you to 22 kilowatts. Not good. I did not find that when I was driving, because the thing is, once we started driving after a couple like half an hour, the temperature dropped to like minus 15 degrees centigrade. And this car performs well in winter weather, it's like 15, compared to the 24 kilowatt Leaf. Because we drove from our house to my girlfriend's parents' house, and we took a detour. So we drove first like 70 and 90 roads, and then we were doing highway for 20 kilometers, like 110 kilometers an hour, then a couple of kilometers in the town again, and then highway speed at 100 kilometers an hour, and then, you know, we got to her parents and did a total journey of 138 kilometers, and we were doing the real speeds because the offset on the speedometer on the Nissan Leaf, the new one, is exactly the same as the old one. If you measure it with GPS in your phone or whatnot, you can see that just take the example that if you want to drive at 90 kilometers an hour, is a very common speed in Sweden. You have to drive at 100 kilometers an hour on the speedometer in the car to actually be driving 90 kilometers an hour. I know all cars have offsets, but it feels a little bit too much in the Leaf, because once you get higher than that, like if you go on a highway and want to go 120 kilometers an hour, you cannot really put it on 130. You actually had to put it on 133 kilometers an hour, so it scales up. I've gotten used to it, so I don't really care, and I guess as a safety measure, it's better. It shows you go slower than you actually are compared to you going physically faster than you are, because you could get speeding tickets and whatnot. I get that. But yeah, but we were doing, you know, real speeds, real 90, real 100, real 110. So once we were on the highway and the speed sign said 110, we were doing 122 kilometers an hour on the speedometer. And we're doing all this. So we did a total, let's say that both these stretches, the 100 and 110 roads, were highways. So we're doing 40 kilometers of highway or freeway. We were doing a lot of 90. We're doing everything according to real speed limits, as close as we can get. And for the last like 80 kilometers, the temperature was down between minus 15 degrees and 12 degrees around there. So it was really cold. And the car just drove these almost 140. When we reached her parents, I think we were down to, the car was saying 20% maybe. So that's a good thing. That's a real good thing, Nissan. You really pull it off there. And then we didn't bother charging at her parents. We just wanted to go to bed. So because they live like 10 kilometers away from the quick charger, so we just drove there on the way home and charged up the car. No problems at all. But as I said, this was at very cold temperatures, and when we're going home, it's still minus 15. So I mean, the car will cool the batteries even rapid charging, because once you charge, it will cool it down faster due to the wind. And we have the same thing on our Leaf, that once it's really cold outside, you will actually get a gain in temperature at the quick charger, and then on the route between this quick charger and the next one, it will actually drop down because it's so cold. Because if you're driving at 100 kilometers an hour, 90 kilometers an hour at minus 15 degrees, I mean, the wind force on the batteries will have minus 50, 60 degrees. So it's going to be a lot colder. But as I've seen on the internet, in normal temperatures, summertime, you can do 2 rapid chargers or quick chargers, charging sessions, and then battery will be so hot that it will go down to 22 kilowatts. I haven't seen it myself, so I don't know. But that could be a problem in the summer months. For me, at least. And I guess for anyone that lives in a country that has winter and summer and snow and whatnot. So that's not that good, Nissan. No, thermal management. I mean, Mitsubishi had it on the IMF back in 2010, using the AC in the car to cool down the batteries. I mean, you had the ENV200 van from Nissan, the electric ones, has battery management. Come on, Nissan. We know that the next year, the 60 kilowatt version of the new Leaf will have thermal management. It will have more faster quick charging capabilities, and it will have more horsepower and better 0 to 60 time. So I'm going to wait. Probably we're going to wait. Probably we could end up getting a 40 kilowatt Leaf next year. And the thing is, once the 60s come, the demo cars from the dealers, they're going to want to replace these 40 kilowatt demo cars with the 60s. So this is going to be the same like when we got ours, because the 30 kilowatt came out 2 months before we got our 24 kilowatt Leaf that was 10 months old, had done 20,000 kilometers approximately. So the price on our 24 kilowatt Leaf had dropped significantly because of the fact, not that it had a huge amount of miles on it. Sure, it had more miles than your usual demo car, because this was a car that had been used by one of the salesmen at this Nissan dealer as his commute car. So that's why it had more miles on it, because typically after a year, a demo car will have, 3,000, 4,000 kilometers on it, maybe a little bit more. But so the only problem with dealer cars is they usually are charged to 100% all the time, so that will degrade the battery a little bit faster. And that's also a thing people talk about, battery degradation. I see the problem with 24 kilowatt Leaf, battery degradation problem, because if you lose 10% of your 24 kilowatt battery, because let's say that your available battery capacity from the beginning is 21 kilowatts, because you don't have 24. 21 kilowatts available. You lose 10% of that, well, that's 2.1 kilowatts. And that's a lot if you have a car that has such a limited range as 24 kilowatt Nissan Leaf. But whereas the 40 kilowatt battery, the available amount of energy is about 36 kilowatt hours. So if you lose 10% of that, you're losing 3.6 kilowatts. But so, the Nissan Leaf, the 40 kilowatt with a 20% degradation or 10% degradation will still go a lot longer, further than the 24 kilowatt Nissan Leaf. It's not a problem. So that's my thought on that. I don't want to buy, because I have a 40 kilowatt that, after 2 quick charging sessions will just allow you to charge at 22 kilowatts, and that's taking forever to charge the car. Because occasionally in the summer we do a lot of driving, we go on holidays, we go drive for long distances, and I don't feel that, because a lot of people say, oh, okay, but don't take an electric car on a long journey. Well, I feel that is not really a valid point. Sure, I see your point there, but you can make a car with thermal management, cooling and heating of the battery pack. It's not that hard. It's not going to cost me as a customer that much more when buying the car, and I'm going to be a lot more. I'm going to be a more of a happy camper, because I can use the car as I please. I don't have to think about it. And that premium of, I don't know how much that would cost, but if you would charge a couple of, 1,000 euros more, or 500 euros more, people would pay that. I promise you, Nissan. I promise you that me as a car buyer, if I didn't have the money but I wanted a Nissan Leaf 40 kilowatt, I would rather go down one trim level so I can afford the battery management system than the other way around, that, I want all these features but the car can only quick charge 2 times, and then it's going to slow down to a level that is, it's not worthless, but it's going to take, instead of taking 20, 30, 40 minutes to charge the car while on a road trip, it will take me a couple of hours. No, that's not the route to go. Trust me. That will kill your electric car. And I mean kill it in the sense that no one will buy it. No one will buy that car, because other manufacturers will have thermal management systems in their cars. And no one's going to buy your car, so you really got to shape up their Nissan. Really, that's a major flaw. You tested out the car for a couple of years, you have tried it out, you know what it does and doesn't do. And okay, let's put it this way. In the regard that you don't have thermal management system on the 40 kilowatt Nissan Leaf, and you can only do 2 or maybe 3 quick charge sessions before it throttles down to a really low level. In that regard, Nissan, you fucked up. Simple as that. So, it's simple as that. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I see that it ran out a little bit on time, but better to be comprehensive than not. So, yeah, but bye for now.